to talk. Welcome, everyone. Well, I ordered yesterday my Trump 2028 hat, the official hat from the official Trump store, but they're sold out. And I ordered it right when the announcement came out. So they're on back order. I don't know what I'm going to get it, but I can't wait to get it. And, this talk of Trump 2028 has the liberals in a complete meltdown. And on the morning show, which will be in about an hour and 15 minutes or so, I'm going to lead with that story because no one has hit on exactly what Trump is talking about here. I want to share it with you on the next stream. And this liberal panic, I love it. It's beautiful. But Trump 2028, that's right. How about Trump 2032 and 36 and 40? Yeah. How about Trump for life? Yeah. Would you be, let me ask you, yes or no? These are two that, would you vote for Trump for a third, even a fourth term? I would. Would you? Yes or no? Would you vote for Trump for a third and fourth term? Yeah, absolutely. And the Democrats are in complete panic, and they're missing the whole thing of what Trump's really talking about with that, which I'll get to on the next stream. I'm not going to spoil my show here and tell you what he exactly means by that. Absolutely. President Trump for life. I can't wait to get my official Trump 2028 hat. The one Eric Trump's wearing in the thumbnail on my next video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. Now, I've got a lot of stories I'm going to cover today. I'm going to talk about that right in the beginning. And Glenn Beck did an incredible interview with President Trump, which I watched, and I've got maybe 3 or 4 clips from that I'm going to play, but one in particular, and I'll talk about that one now. But I'm going to bring this up on the show this morning. There's the Glenn Beck interview is very good, even though he was a never Trumper in the first campaign, but he talked to Trump about dropping these alliances that we formed after the Second World War. And Trump said yes. He said, after the Second World War, we rebuilt these countries, but we never stopped. And, World War II was over a long time ago. And, these countries that we were allied with against Germany and Japan just are not our allies anymore. Not for the most part. Some of them are. Norway. But they're not our friend anymore. We don't have... this is what J.D. Vance talked about in Munich a few weeks ago. Remember? He says, what is our alliance about? What shared goals do we have anymore with NATO and the former World War II allies? And we really don't have the same goals. They're all about screwing over the United States and ripping us off. They're trying to start a third world war. And let's see, the soldier in front of Trump van was to the side. Well, there's still questions with that soldier with the rifle. What was he aiming at? What was he aiming at? You don't point your rifle downrange unless you're aiming at something. So what was he aiming at? No, he still needs to be brought in. But Trump is forming new alliances of countries that are actually the friend of the United States. Norway yesterday, El Salvador, Italy, maybe even Russia when this is all over. The tariffs are working, absolutely. They are working. It's a process. Roy, $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Roy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm broadcasting from my home studio today. I have to go to the radio station Monday And then a second, I have to go to the radio station twice next week. I got to go Monday and another day, but I'm going to use my home studio today. Welcome, Israel, Melbourne, Australia. Hello to you. But that's what Trump is doing. He's forming a new alliance of countries that are actually friends of the United States and allied with the United States. Not these countries that are ripping us off and screwing us over, like Canada and most of Europe. And that's got to be done. Chandler, Arizona, welcome one and all. Istanbul, welcome to you. Wow, global audience here. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is the most pro-Donald Trump channel you'll find, not just on YouTube, but anywhere. You parrot whatever Trump says. No, I just agree with Trump all of the time. Oh, yes, we most definitely should help Israel. You know, there's a lot of differences between the weapons that we give to Ukraine and the American weapons Israel has. Israel buys the weapons from us. We don't give Israel free weapons and weapon systems and things. They actually buy them from us. Ukraine, we just give it to them. Big difference there. A lot of people don't know that. And also, another thing I want to talk about today. It's open phones on the program today, right? Open MAGA Mike Friday, Open Phone Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. You guys can call me on the air on the next stream about any and everything on your mind. So Friday show prep is up to you guys, but I do have a lot of things I want to bring up. Another thing I'm going to bring up, Charlie Kirk, who's been hanging around too many liberals, I must tell you. There's no good liberal out there. There's no good Democrat, no good liberal. And I wish Charlie Kirk would not be hanging out with all these low-life liberals. But I can't remember who he was talking to. I can't remember the guy's name. He's got a podcast. He used to be on CNN. He's part of this new Megyn Kelly podcast network she's setting up. He's very good. I can't remember his name. But anyway, Charlie Kirk was saying that Trump should not be locking up these terrorist sympathizers that are on these student visas. You know, and there's a new one, a girl that they locked up who wrote some editorial. You know, these students that are advocating for Hamas are working for Iran. It's not just that they're spreading hate speech. That's part of it, anti-Semitic hate speech. They are promoting terrorist organizations, right? Hamas is a terrorist organization that really is Iran. So if you're in this country on any type of guest visa, a student visa or any other type of visa, and you're advocating for a terrorist organization, your visa is revoked. And it's not a violation of the First Amendment to do that. You're a guest in this country with those visas, and you got to go. And Iran sends these monsters here to brainwash college students and to gain sympathy for their terrorist causes. I mean, look at these college kids that call me on the air. They don't know what they're talking about. You know, some of them are probably in the chat right now. They hate Israel like this idiot that, you know, had some anti-Israel thing a minute ago. And they've got to go. We're not invading Greenland. Greenland, the native population of Greenland will vote and decide if they want to become a part of the United States or not. Well, you're an Israeli, welcome. We already have a military force in Greenland. And he didn't know we're not going to invade Greenland. Trump is awesome, that is right. I'm in Florida. We don't have basements in Florida. The biggest BSer on earth? Who would that be? Obama? Bill Clinton? I like that Letitia James is freaking out. She lawyered up in this mortgage fraud case. She's busted and worried. Yes, the town in Israel, Trump Heights. I've heard of that. That's awesome. We should have towns named after President Trump in the United States. Wouldn't that be great? No one said anything about a dictator. We have elections. Was FDR a dictator? He was elected to 4 terms. Iran should not have any nuclear weapons. Are you kidding? They're very dangerous. Why would they want nuclear weapons? They're on top of an ocean of oil. The only reason that they want nuclear power is to have enriched uranium to build nuclear bombs. Oh, Trump would win in 2028 and 2032. Absolutely. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. No tattoos for me. Adam Schiff is just a scummy guy. He's incredibly scummy. And he has no morals. He's totally without morals. I have no thoughts on transgenders, other than transgender men should not be in sports that are women's teams. I mean, what's that all? That's crazy. Too many rhinos and never Trumpers? No, there's not that many rhinos and never Trumpers. They're just overrepresented in the media, so their numbers seem larger than they are. President Trump is a man of strong moral character, no doubt. Iran is America's enemy. I mean, that's just it. I mean, since they took the U.S. Embassy in '79. The people of Iran, I'm sure, are fine, but their government and military, some evil dudes. Evil, evil, evil. Jesus is Lord, that's right. I'm watching the news all the time, man. Yeah, this is another one of their fake narratives, their fantasy narratives that Trump supporters are regretting their vote. No Trump supporter regrets it. If you see someone interviewed who says they're MAGA, they voted for Trump, and they regret their vote, they're lying. They didn't vote for Trump. Trump's the best president of my lifetime. Probably out of all the presidents in our nation's history, he's the best. Go to bed, it's 5 a.m. Coming up on 5 a.m., it's time to get up and go to work. Israel does not control Trump. What has Trump done under Israeli control? Oh my goodness. Anti-Semitism, it's so sad. It's back strong, unfortunately. Oh no, Trump 2028 is a real thing. No. Oh gosh, I voted for Trump 6 times, right? 3 primaries, 3 general elections. I'd love to vote for him again, wouldn't you? Awesome. Absolutely. The trolls are up early. The trolls have not gone to bed yet. They're a bunch of Twitch streamers, a bunch of gamers. Oh man, it is just an exciting time. I mean, we are so blessed to be living through this second Trump term. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. I would like to have a 4th term for Trump. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, thank God we got Trump. Could you imagine if that wino, sugar baby Kamala Harris, became president? What would be happening in this country right now? Trump's brought egg prices down 87%. You don't hear anybody talking about egg prices anymore. Haven't heard anyone mention egg prices in a week, or several weeks, actually. Oh, the country would be done. If Kamala would have won, this hat would be outlawed. I still can't believe he's president again. I wake up every day like, this is amazing. It's crazy. Isn't it? It's amazing. I remember there was a TV show, The Dead Zone. It was a takeoff the movie, in the early 2000s with Anthony Michael Hall. And his character, he had gotten into a car accident, and he was in a coma for a few years, and he woke up. And George W. Bush was president when he came out of the coma when the show was on. And he wakes up out of a coma, and he says, "Who's the president?" And they say, "George Bush." And he says, "Again?" It was kind of like a joke because his dad was president. Could you imagine someone who was in a coma for 4 years, they woke up and Trump's president again? I mean, they wouldn't even believe it. I mean, it's crazy. It's amazing, isn't it? It's the most amazing comeback story in history. It wasn't in the movie where that happened. That was in the TV show. Yes, I do watch television. Yes, that was like a long time ago, though, that show. God saved Trump's life, that's right. That's right, Butler, Pennsylvania, never forget. Do you guys remember where you were when they shot Trump in Butler, the Never Trumper? Yep, the Never Trumper shot him in Butler. I remember where I was, right in my house. I was watching that footage again in Butler because of that Greg Kelly video with the guy pointing the rifle, and I was watching it a few more times. And when the Never Trumpers shot Trump in Butler, you see the crowd turn around to the media and start screaming at the media saying, "You did this, you did this." That's true. And when the Never Trumpers, and it looks like Ukraine had a role, shot the president in Butler, Pennsylvania, that crowd didn't leave. They stayed. When has there ever been a shooting incident like that where people didn't run? And the people stayed because, one, they wanted to make sure he was okay, but they wanted to protect him. The people stayed there to protect Trump. And if people would have come out and rushed with guns or something, that crowd would have jumped them and stopped them. But they were there to protect Trump. To see if he was okay too, but mainly to protect him. They didn't want to leave him. How did Ukraine have a role in the shooting? There's been 3 Trump assassins, and Ukraine's connected to all of them. The Butler assassin had several cell phones. And on one of his cell phones, he was calling and talking to somebody with a Ukrainian phone number. That's the Butler assassin. The golf course assassin worked for the Ukrainian government. He worked for the Zelensky government. He was recruiting ex-U.S. military to take jobs as mercenaries for Ukraine. And he'd been to Ukraine. This is the golf course assassin. And he actually was in contact with a government official from Ukraine trying to get them to give him an RPG. So we have a Ukrainian connection with them. The 3rd Trump assassin was arrested last week or the week before, and he also had Ukrainian phone numbers on his cell phone. So 3 Trump assassins, 3 Ukrainian connections. Mm-hmm. No, that's all true. You can research that on your own. Mm-hmm. That's all true. There's a Ukrainian connection to all 3 Trump assassins. I wish it wasn't true, but it's true. And I think Trump keeps it quiet because He just wants to end the war. And if he acknowledged those connections, the American people would demand war with Ukraine for what they've done. But that, sadly, is all true. And Zelensky has the nerve to come to the White House and talk to President Trump the way he did. The funding is from Biden. Biden, they passed legislation for the funding. Trump can't stop that. No, I'm not bald. We think I'm Tim Pool. Full head of hair. No bald spots, nothing. Nope. Nope. And before someone asks, the hat is not made in China, made in the USA. Right there. Made in the USA. Yep. Exactly. These countries don't pay their NATO dues. We're paying for their defense. Well, everyone's pushing 60, you know. Gotta head out to the coffee shop. All right. Dark MAGA mode engaged. Let's go. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, please like the video. But, yeah, those Ukrainian connections are the truth. Zelensky's a real lowlife. You know, Ukraine, you know, they've said for years Ukraine is the most corrupt country in Europe. They instigated this war. Putin invaded, but they were poking the bear. They had to help Biden, you know. Biden said that Putin could take some of Ukraine, so he did. It's just disgusting. I mean, how many people have died in this war? For what? For what? You know, I was talking to one of our listeners on the cruise who's a U.S. citizen, but they're an immigrant from England. And they were talking about the Islamification of England. And he said, everything my dad fought for in the Second World War was for nothing because the country's been lost. Yeah, I was watching last week a great movie, Sink the Bismarck. And, you know, all these great heroes of the Second World War that fought for England, Dunkirk, Battle of Britain, everything. And now the country's fallen. England has fallen just from uncontrolled immigration. Sad, isn't it? Very sad. Now, there's been some pockets where that's happened in this country, Minnesota, you know. Oops, that's my coffee cups hitting each other. I've got 2 coffee cups on the passenger side floor. I hope they don't break. I like those cups. They're cups that you can put in the microwave and they don't get hot. I don't know how that works, but it's pretty cool. But Trump has saved not just our country, but Western civilization. Western civilization has been completely saved by Trump. Western civilization was on the verge of collapse with these Democrats. I mean, look at these Democrats, right? You got a bunch of them going to El Salvador trying to meet this wife beater from MS-13, member of a terrorist organization. Then you got another group of Democrats who are going to Louisiana to meet with this Syrian Hamas organizer, student Mahmoud. What have the Democrats done to help Americans? Why are the Democrats traveling around and doing so much to help people that are not Americans? And not only non-Americans, but bad ones. People that work for Iran and terrorists and beat their wives. Why are the Democrats doing that? Anyone have any theories? Trump derangement syndrome is that's too much of an out. I think that the Democrats hate the American people because we elected Trump again. They have no use for the American people, the Democrats. They hate them. They hate all of us, not just MAGA. They hate all the American people, the Democrats. They feel the American people have let them down. I wish that Starbucks opened up at 5 a.m. They open up at 5:30. If they opened up at 5 a.m., some of them do, but not around me. If they opened up at 5 a.m., it would make my life a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've got the air conditioning on. It's Florida, so always have the air conditioning on. Oh, enough of that due process bullshit. This guy went before two judges, an immigration judge and an appeals court judge. That's it. The due process doesn't go on forever, right? I mean, how long does due process last to you guys? It's never ending. It's just a stupid... If Mahmoud voted for Trump, he voted illegally. He's not a U.S. citizen. Third term Trump, fourth term Trump, absolutely. Trump is brilliant. Brilliant. See, this is, people in other countries that are here. I tell you guys this. In the United States, Americans don't care what people think in other countries. We just don't care. We don't care what you think about us, our country, our president. We just, Trump, we just don't care. It amazes me that people in other countries think Americans care. We don't care what other countries think about us. We just don't. Never have. Oh, Doge is awesome. Doge is awesome. Doge is more than just about ending all this government waste. When the tax bill comes up, which is next, right? The tax cut bill with the no tax on tips and everything. Democrats hate tax cuts. And it's going to be very, and they have a talking point. Oh, tax cuts, yeah, but how are you going to pay for them? And there's so much government waste that's been exposed, the Democrats are going to have a hard time arguing against tax cuts. So, so that's a very important purpose of Doge. Name one bad thing about Trump? Nothing. He's done nothing bad. Tax cuts for the rich. So no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security. Those are rich people. Tip workers are rich people now. Why am I sitting in my car in the dark? I'm waiting for Starbucks to open so I can get my coffee. That's why I'm in the car in the dark. He didn't grab any woman. That's another one of the big lies, right? That Billy Bush tape. what he said was, you know, he had gone to Hollywood when The Apprentice first, for this Access Hollywood interview, and he was on this media tour for The Apprentice when the Apprentice first became the #1 show on network television on NBC. And he was talking about how all these actresses all of a sudden are like his best friend. And he said that these Hollywood actresses are so sleazy that when you're famous, you could grab them by the blank and they'd let you. He didn't say he did it, and he didn't advocate for it. It was a comment on how sleazy the actresses are in Hollywood. And they tell you these talking points, the liberals have, they have these talking points about Trump. None of them are true. The president of the United States does not answer to the courts. In fact, I was watching Newt Gingrich this morning talking. You know, these federal courts, okay? The Supreme Court oversees the, you know, their jurisdiction is over these lower federal courts, but federal judges, they're federal district judges, okay? You know, like you have a federal judge. We have different districts around the country. And those federal judges, their authority is only in their district. It could be the Southern District of New York. It could be Florida, right? They have these different districts. And what these federal judges are doing is actually outside the scope of their authority. These federal district judges are saying that their authority goes beyond their district that covers the entire United States, which is not true. And they also are not the supervisor of the President of the United States. Not just this president, but any president. You can leave, Hector. You won't be missed. But you can stay tuned and learn something. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And Newt Gingrich is a very, very smart man. Now, Greenland, there's a strong MAGA movement in Greenland. Hector, I thought Hector was leaving. Guess he stayed. But these federal judges don't have authority nationwide, and certainly not over the president. They have authority inside their district. So they are outside their area of control. And Newt Gingrich was talking about that. In fact, he was meeting with members of Congress about that recently. And that's pretty smart. Newt Gingrich is a smart guy. Yes, it has been established. It has most definitely been established. No, you don't have to leave, Hector, but you said you were going to leave. If a president breaks the law, it's not up to these courts to say, oh, you can't do that. They're not a bunch of little presidents by committee. That's what the impeachment process is for in the Congress. If a president breaks the law, Congress, the House of Representatives, can impeach him and force a trial in the Senate. Trump should ignore all the judges, including the Supreme Court. They have no authority over him in these matters. None. Zero. What they're doing is insane, and they're out of control. Who states what, Hector? He is not disobeying the law. If Congress believes that he has broken the law, they can catch him. That's the system. That's the constitutional protection against an outlaw president. Right? So these judges, that's not how you operate. If a president breaks the law, it's not up to the courts to get involved. The House impeaches him. There's a trial in the Senate. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presides over the trial in the Senate. And then after the evidence is presented, the senators vote. And if 3/4 of them vote to remove a president, they're out. You don't agree with my views? Well, that's okay. We all have opinions. But what I'm talking about with if a president breaks the law, that's not a view. That is the Constitution of the United States. Yes, there are 3 branches of government, but they don't oversee the president. And they're not equal or co-equal or whatever bullshit they teach people. They have very separate powers, and the president is much more powerful than the other 2. The judicial's the weakest. They just give opinions. They have no enforcement power. You know, I'd like to know how Rosie affords her lifestyle. She hasn't worked in years, and the things she's done does not have residual income. I don't know what, she may not be as rich as people think. Judges can interpret the laws, but they do not. It's not for judges to boss around the president. That's what the impeachment process is for. See how stupid people get in school these days? They teach them things that are not true. No, I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate. Nope. I know a lot of conservatives like to promote Andrew Tate because it gets them views. But no. I had a chance to meet him when he came to Florida a few weeks ago. He flew in with his brother to Fort Lauderdale, and I could have gone there to meet him. But no interest in meeting that narcissist. The conservatives that promote Andrew Tate, it's just for views, clicks and views. I didn't say anything's wrong with trans. President Trump does not lie. I don't know what research grants they've cut. If they cut a research grant, it was a research grant. It wasn't doing anything. Trans people have the same rights as everyone else in this country. What the trans people want are special rights, right? Like, if I went into the, I'm going to go to Starbucks here in a minute, right? If I went into the ladies' room in this Starbucks, what would they do? They might call the police. They might throw me out. But trans men want to be able to be a man with a penis and go into the ladies' room. They want extra rights. They have the same rights everyone else has. Andrew Tate's a narcissist. Oh yeah, there's separate bathrooms. Yeah, they want extra rights. They want rights the rest of us don't have. I mean, if I went to the gym, right, like the local gym, and I went into the ladies' shower, what would they do? They'd call the police. But transgender men, they want to be able to go into the ladies' shower. No. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. Garcia is where he belongs. You can advocate for a wife beater if you want, but I don't know why you would do that. His own wife said he beat her up multiple times. Pretty bad, too. Black eyes, bloody. Most of the transgender athletes are just cheaters. They can't make it on the boys' team, so they want to play with the girls. Most of them are just cheaters. I think that's pretty obvious, don't you? It started with that swimmer. Trump never lies. What lie is he told? Trump never lies. Sometimes what liberals do is they'll say misspeaking or being incorrect, being wrong is a lie. No. A lie is a knowing. You knowingly are giving false information. No, he didn't release his weight. His doctors did. Doctors are not going to put a false weight on a medical report and release it. They could lose their license if they give out false physical results. Speaking from the heart, well, no, Trump does not lie. Mexico is paying for the wall and has. Remember the MCA that they passed? He redid NAFTA. That's how they pay. They don't write a check and say for the wall in the memo. The renegotiation of the trade agreements between the United States and Mexico is how they paid for it. Exactly. All right, guys, listen. Again, if you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. My next stream will be in about 35 minutes. I'll be taking live calls. It's toll-free to call no matter where you're watching. That'll be on the next stream. And it's Friday, which means it's open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mic Friday. You can call me about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. All right, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. My name is Brian Craig. I'll see you in about 30